large fishing village. It was almost fished out of salmon, but thankfully now with the government regulations, the salmon population has come back. At one point there was just dozens of canneries or fish processing factories here on the island. We've still got a couple, but nothing like it was. To our right is one of our many seaplane or float plane bases. Here in Alaska, air travel is just a way of life for these folks, where you and I would jump in a car and drive a couple hundred miles on the weekend to visit family. That's not an option here. So here they'll jump in an airplane and fly a couple islands over. We're almost into the actual city limits of Ketchikan. The population of the city is about 8,000 permanent residents. That population swells to about 12,000 or more during cruise season, thanks to people like myself who just come up for the season. I've been here about 3 weeks, and my plan is to stay till the cruise season's over in mid-October. Ward Cove would also like to remind you that because Ward Cove is not in the city limits, the taxes are much cheaper. The sales tax are much cheaper at Ward Cove. The sales tax downtown is, I believe, 8.5%, and at Ward Cove is 2.5%. So anything you buy at Ward Cove is going to be cheaper, and also you don't have to carry it around all day. And that's my shameless plug for the store at Ward Cove. Coming up at the top of this hill on our left, above our left shoulder, will be our local Walmart. Many people say it's the second smallest Walmart there is, but I've never really seen anything to document or prove that. I do know that when I walk in it, I don't think, wow, this is small. I walk in it and think, this is a Walmart. It's not a super Walmart, so it doesn't have all the fruits and vegetables and meat counter that a lot of Walmarts have. But other than that, it does have most everything you would want, need, and expect a Walmart to have. Prices are slightly higher here, but they're not crazy high. You're not going to see that $12 gallon of milk like you hear about in higher latitudes in Alaska. Most everything here comes up on barges. We get about 2 barges a week, and those barges have between 75 and 100 containers on it. So we're pretty well stocked. I've never heard anybody say they needed something and couldn't get it. To our right is our international airport. Alaskan Airlines comes in and out of here several times a day with both passengers and freight. Up until this year, Delta would come up seasonally, but unfortunately Delta just recently announced that they're no longer coming to Ketchikan. And that's unfortunate because with the competition in the past, it's been relatively inexpensive to get from here to, say, Seattle. But I'm sure that now that there's no competition, those prices are going to start climbing slowly. The airport is also on an island separate than the island that we're on. The only way to get to and from it is the small passenger ferry that runs across. And it runs across a couple times an hour, and it just costs maybe $3 or $4 one way to get there. We also get a lot of float planes that land and take off between us and the airport. The first dock that you see, the floating dock over toward the airport, is for those seaplanes, so they can land, they can pick up in neighboring islands, they can land right here, and their passengers can walk right up into the terminal of the airport. The area that we're about to come through, I guess it is a rock slide, but it had a little help from man. I'm told this was either a little extra dynamite or dynamite put in the wrong place, but they were doing what started off as minor work to clean things up there, and something happened, and the blast was too large, so it dumped a bunch of rock on the road that we normally use. So when that happened, they decided to just go ahead and clear out more, and they built this little bypass. Up until last week, this bypass was dirt and gravel, and you can imagine as much rain as we get, what kind of shape it was in. They would grade it one day, and then it would rain for 4 or 5 days, and it would become almost impassable. So we're fortunate to have it paved now, and they say it's going to be that way the entire season. As I said, I live in Central Florida, so I normally fly in and out of the Orlando airport. Our parking at the Orlando airport is $20 or more. Here on the right is the airport parking, and it costs just a couple dollars a day to park here. You can see on the right a gallon of gas is $3.77 a gallon, so it is slightly higher than other places here, but we have to remember that because we're an island, you're probably not going to fill up, drive 300 miles, and need to fill up again the same day. So a tank of gas will last you quite a long time here. To the right is one of our full-service grocery stores, the A&P Market. That's not the A&P that I think about growing up in the South. That's a locally owned grocery store, and that stands for Alaska and Proud. And coming up on our right is the State of Alaska Ferry Terminal. And you can see by the sign that the official name is the Alaska Maritime Highway, because again, the ferry system to these folks are like a highway system to us. To the left is one of our local fire departments. These guys and gals are highly trained. In the lower 48, they have what they call mutual aid. If a department can't handle something or needs specialized equipment, they can call a neighboring department. But we're an island, so that's not an option here. So these folks have to be ready to handle everything. The big blue building on our left is our local hospital. We're fortunate to have a hospital here. Many communities in Alaska don't have a hospital. But we've got a nice hospital with a well-equipped emergency room that's capable of handling most everything. Although I did learn last week that we don't have a cath lab on the island, so we don't want to have a heart attack. I found it interesting that we have a sleep center, but no cath lab. To the right is our largest marina on the island. Tourism is the #1 industry here, but you can see by all the fishing boats out there that a lot of people still make their living commercially fishing.